Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for this afternoon's webinar, Programming for Older Adults, Lessons from AARP Foundation Grantees. My name is Lainey Castle, and I'm a project director in the ALA Public Programs Office. Last year, I was fortunate to work with the librarians that we're going to hear from today as part of an initiative called Integrated Services for Older Adults, which was generously sponsored by the AARP Foundation. Through the project, AARP Foundation and ALA worked to identify 4 public libraries to develop and implement their own unique concierge-style services for the struggling 50-plus population, offering assistance with some of the most serious issues they face today: housing, hunger, income, and isolation. Each of these 4 public libraries, Westchester, Los Angeles, Jacksonville, and Cuyahoga, received grants from the AARPF to support their programming and service efforts. This afternoon, we're joined by staff from 3 of these locations who will share their experiences and lessons learned with us. Before I move ahead, I would like to offer just a few words about online classroom conduct. First, please do not use the instant message feature to pose technical questions. If you are experiencing a technical problem, you should send a private message to our classroom administrator. To do that, you just mouse over PPO Super Admin at the left of your screen and select, or maybe at the right of your screen, and select Start Private Chat. That will allow you to communicate with Samantha Oakley in the Public Programs Office. She will do her best to help you. Also note that only presenters have access to a microphone today. Session attendees may use the chat box to communicate within the classroom. We will have at least 5 minutes for a Q&A session after all of our presentations wrap up. In order to keep the program on track, we ask that you save your questions for the presenters until the end. And finally, if you experience technical difficulties during the session, don't panic. The complete presentation is being recorded and will be available for download later this week. Today's session is sponsored by the AARP Foundation, and we thank them for this support. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Chris Rutledge, Program Manager in the Income Impact area of the AARP Foundation. Chris?
Hello, everybody, and thank you for being on the call today. I am hoping that everyone can hear me clearly. I'll speak loudly if necessary, so just let me know if not. We are very happy to have been working with ALA and the various public libraries over the course of the last year. We are AARP Foundation, and what we do is work with the low-income 50-plus population to help them to really gain their essentials. We work in a number of impact areas, including helping them with income, helping them with hunger issues, helping them with housing issues, and helping them with isolation issues. And we know that we can't do this without the assistance of local partners. And so we've reached out to the libraries to be a part of that partnership for this past year. We are truly wanting to learn more about what it takes to reach out and connect with the low-income 50-plus population. How do you get them to come in the door and talk about what their needs are? We also learned what those needs are and what those services are. And we learned very importantly that obviously one national organization doesn't have all the answers, that there is a very local element to this sort of work, that you must be able to connect with services in the community. And while we think we have some wonderful programming to which we can connect people at the national level, a lot of what happens in the community. And so that was a great part of this partnership, is to see how local libraries can connect people to what's in their community. And really importantly, how do you get the low-income 50-plus population to take up that information? We offered a number of tools. You'll hear people talk about our Resource Navigator survey or questionnaire, as it were, which allowed us to look at some of the services that we provide. But it was also a matter of a conversation, and much of this was people talking with other people, learning what their needs are, and learning how they can help meet those needs and make those connections. So this has been a very, very important learning experience for us as we go out and try to find out how best to connect with the low-income 50-plus, how to really identify what the services they need are and how we can best meet them. So it's been very exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing from the libraries today. They've been wonderful to work with over the past year, and I'm going to now turn this back over to Lainey to take it from here.
Thank you, Chris, for for that background information. Now I would like to introduce our first presenter, Wendy Westgate with the Los Angeles Public Library. In addition to the programming that Wendy is going to talk about in just a moment, I wanted to say a few words about LAPL's work piloting the AARP grant at the Benjamin Franklin and Watch branch libraries of LAPL. With AARP's grant support, these branches organized programs that highlighted topics of interest to 50-plus populations, such as diabetes prevention, nutrition classes, yoga, financial literacy workshops, and citizen workshops. Health advocates were hired to go into the community and to bring people into classes. The same health advocates were stationed once a week at each of the libraries to highlight and sign people up for AARP's Resource Navigator tool that Chris just mentioned, as well as to provide information on health services around the country. The grant was successful in reaching the 50 and over population, but it was not successful in capturing other data because patrons were protective of their personal information. Now we will hear from Wendy, who is a librarian in the Adult Services Coordinating Office of LAPL. Wendy is involved with a variety of different projects, including LAPL's Health Matters Initiative, helping to coordinate a new system-wide series of humanities programming titled Made in LA, spearheading a new homebound services pilot project, and bringing an adult summer reading club to LAPL for the first time. We're very happy to have her here to share more about the work that she's doing for 50-plus populations at LAPL. Wendy, I'll hand it over to you.
Hello, my name is Wendy Westgate, and I am a librarian in the Adult Services Coordinating Office of Los Angeles Public Library, or LAPL. And I would like to tell you about a pilot program I initiated in one of our service regions in order to provide library services to our homebound patrons. I've divided up this presentation into the genesis of the idea, the planning process, how we launched it, and our hopes for the future of this pilot program. A little background on the situation in LA first. Although LAPL used to offer book delivery services to shut-ins, the service was discontinued at some point in the past. And from time to time, I'd receive calls at the branch where I worked from elderly or infirm patrons who were unable to get to the library themselves and had no friends or family who could pick up materials for them. And my heart really went out to them, and I started to research ways to bridge that gap in service. I was hoping to find a way to partner with a community organization that could be the link between the library and the patron. I received permission to start a pilot program in my region, the East San Fernando Valley, with the hope that if it became a workable initiative, we might be able to replicate it in other areas served by LAPL, because we're a very large system. Things really started getting off the ground when I made two key local contacts, and these were One Generation Senior Center and a low-income senior housing facility called Menorah House. These two organizations became the library's community partners for the pilot program. And this is a critical step in the process because finding local partners with similar goals and a volunteer base is key, since library staffing levels wouldn't allow us to manage an initiative like this on our own. Now here are a few statistics about the makeup of the city of Los Angeles. And we use the database Demographics Now to get census estimates for the year 2015, shown in blue, and projections for the year 2020 shown in red. So using the AARP's measure of age 50 and up, qualifying as an older adult, in 2015, out of a total population of just over 3.9 million, there were almost 1.1 million older adults, which amounts to about 25% of the total city population. And you can see that by 2020, it's projected that the total number of older adults in LA will rise to around 1.2 million out of an estimated total population of close to 4 million people. This projected increase of residents aged 50 and up would bring the percentage of older adults up to 29.75%, which is to say that by 2020, nearly a third of the total population of the city of Los Angeles will be composed of older adults. Of course, these numbers reflect the aging of the baby boomers, who will be expecting to receive library services that meet their needs as they age and begin to experience the usual physical and mobility challenges that go along with that, including in some cases becoming homebound. I think it's clear that we need to start putting systems in place now that are going to help us meet those needs as the final cohort of boomers begins to age into the older adult category. So now I wanted to talk a little about the planning stage of our pilot program. Over the course of about a year, a committee consisting of several librarians, as well as staff from 2 community partners, brainstormed ways to make the idea a reality. And this included looking at existing models of homebound services offered by other library systems and adapting some of those ideas for our program. Once we had a firm vision of how we might proceed, we crafted a survey to gauge the level of interest in such a service, and our community partners distributed the survey to their users or residents. And you can find a copy of our survey in the resources section. As we expected, the results showed that there was great interest among this demographic in receiving library services outside the physical library. Survey responses also showed that audiobooks and large type materials were of interest, as well as materials in languages such as Spanish, Russian, Farsi, and Hebrew. To promote the pilot program among the populations we were trying to reach, the committee created flyers explaining the new service in the main languages spoken by this population, which are English, Russian, and Farsi. At the residential facility Menorah House, staff advertised the upcoming service via posters and flyers that were slipped under the residents' doors. At One Generation Senior Center, they posted flyers and further spread the word by including the information in their newsletter, which goes out to 5,000 community members. The launch. In January of 2016, the efforts of this group came to fruition, and the Homebound Services pilot launched as a 2-pronged model consisting of 1, monthly senior book stops, sometimes called lobby stops because they're actually set up in the lobbies or meeting rooms of the 2 partner facilities, and 2, an actual book delivery component that piggybacked on the daily meal service that One Generation already offers to homebound seniors in its service areas. First, I'll focus on the senior book stop aspect. At this point, the book stops are taking place in alternating months at the 2 locations. So every month we're doing it somewhere. If demand calls for it, we may increase that frequency to monthly at each location. A book stop is always manned by 1 or 2 librarians and hopefully some volunteers, and consists of tables filled with bins offering a variety of books, including hardbacks, paperbacks, and large type, as well as books on CD for the seniors to check out. The librarians are there to advise patrons and help them with whatever they need. Along with the tables and bins containing the library materials, we also bring a tablet and a MiFi, which allows us to issue new library cards on site. The seniors can fill out request forms to specify what particular types of materials they would like to check out at the next book stop, such as fiction, nonfiction, authors they like, the formats they prefer, etc. And they can request books in different languages as well. The only other items we bring to the book stops are a branded LAPL tablecloth, standing signage, various library brochures, and any library swag we have on hand. We use a flat rolling cart to transport the bins from the car into the lobby, and that's basically all you need. We really didn't spend much more than $200 to purchase the items we needed for our pilot program, and it helped that we had some things like the tablecloth on hand already. Now, here you can see a sample of the English language flyer promoting the senior book stops and one of the tables filled with bins containing books and audiobooks for checkout. At this point in time, we are not offering magazines or DVDs, but that's something we may expand the service to in the future, if there is a demand for that. And here are some numbers from the first senior book stop at each of the 2 locations. At our very first book stop at Menorah House, 6 new library cards were issued and 9 people checked out materials. There were a total of 14 visitors that first time. The event was scheduled for late morning, but the staff at Menorah House subsequently decided to hold the next book stop later in the day because they realized that their residents tended to do errands and things like that in the morning. The next month at One Generation Senior Center, 13 library cards were issued, 3 items were checked out, and a total of 40 people stopped by. We expect those numbers to rise moving forward, and we're interested to see what works and what doesn't, and then make adjustments. But in general, people were very curious and enthusiastic to see the library coming to them. And finally, I'd like to talk a little about the book delivery component. I was so thrilled that we were able to piggyback on their pre-existing meal delivery service, which is kind of like Meals on Wheels. And One Generation staff helped identify which of the 10 meal delivery routes would be piloting the service and which seniors would be included. And they reached out to those seniors and helped them complete the library card applications and the book interest surveys. The applications were then forwarded to an LAPL librarian for processing and later returned to One Generation staff to hang on to so they could check materials in and out for their homebound clients. Homebound patron cards receive an extended checkout period of 8 weeks versus the normal 3 weeks for regular library cards to conform with the bi-monthly book delivery service schedule, and no late fees were assessed should an item be returned late. Staff from One Generation will contact the librarians prior to each scheduled book delivery to let us know the types of books and quantities that have been requested by the seniors on the 2 routes. The first month of the pilot, we started with a single delivery route with 7 seniors participating. However, the One Generation staff felt that it went so well, they decided to add a second delivery route for the next time. For now, the frequency of book deliveries for both routes will be every other month, just like the senior book stops at each location. But if we notice a greater need, we'll consider having deliveries on a monthly basis. Okay, and now the future. Well, as you can see, this is a fairly new service, and we are still figuring out some things as we go. But we feel confident that we have a firm structure in place that can be expanded over time and become something even better. And I certainly hope that this pilot model can eventually be implemented in other areas of Los Angeles with local community partners in each region. This will finally make it possible for seniors without transportation to the library, as well as homebound individuals of any age, to take advantage of the wonderful variety of materials that Los Angeles Public Library has to offer. And it's also my hope that some librarians listening to this webinar might get inspired to start a homebound services program in their neck of the woods. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Now, I would like to introduce our next presenter, Marissa Richardson. Marissa began her undergraduate career at SUNY Potsdam in the Educational Opportunity Program and then started her MLS program at the University at Buffalo, specializing in public librarianship while working for the New York State Library Association New Member Engagement Committee. She implemented the AARP Foundation Grant Program for the Westchester Library System and is dedicated to helping underserved populations. Marissa, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, Lainey. All right. First off, can everybody hear me? Yes? Okay, just making sure. So my program is Pull Up a Chair at the Library, and this is service referrals for older adults. One thing I want everybody to keep in mind during this is we were talking about referral services with a customer connection. So once again, we want to take in the personal aspect of this grant. So part one, the idea, what services are needed. So when we wanted to deliver services to older adults and we wanted to offer referral services, we thought about the area of Westchester County. So the population is 900,000. It's a very huge population. And most of the population is centered in southern Westchester, Yonkers, Melford, and New Rochelle. And it's a very big wealth distribution. We have, the Clintons have houses in Westchester. We have Molly Ringwald living here. We have a lot of celebrities living.
I think we've lost Marissa's audio, if we could hold just for a moment.
Oh, you didn't lose me, did you?
You're back.
Oh, thank God. Okay. I'm going to go in one more time because I've lost the presentation.
Do you not see your slides, Marissa?
No, I don't see my slides. I'm going back into the room.
Okay. I think we're going to just take a quick break while Marissa makes another attempt to get to her presentation. And if it takes more than a minute, we can move ahead then to Margaret's presentation and return to Marissa's after the fact. Let's just give it one moment.
I'm clicking on the room again right now.
Apologies to everyone, if you could just bear with us while we figure this out quickly.
All right, can you hear me now? Hello? Lainey, I'm here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Now let's get back to it. Thank you. Yeah.
Marissa, we're not hearing you. I think we may need to just proceed to Margaret's presentation.
Now, as I was saying, because of the big wealth distribution with Westchester County, the idea is
I think
that
that's the case. So I'm going to advance these slides.
County, and we know very well that that is not true. That's just simply not true. So we have a lot of people who are 50 plus. In poverty. We have a No, you can hear me, right? Yes, I'm in. Hello? Hi, I'm here.
Hi everyone, this is Lainey. We are going to go ahead and advance to the slides, and Margaret, if I can ask you to do your presentation. I think that we will, it seems that Marissa, if you are on Wi-Fi, it is simply not working. Your audio is very choppy. We hear you less than we don't hear you. Let's get up here. I will go ahead and introduce Margaret as soon as I hear from you, Margaret, that you're ready to go ahead. Would you let me know if you are?
I'm ready to go. I sure am. Yes, yes.
Okay, terrific.
Hello?
Excuse me. Okay, so Marissa, we can return to your presentation at the end if we are able to do that. For now,
Hello?
I am going to introduce our presenter, Margaret Morford. Margaret is a librarian too at Jacksonville Public Library. She attended Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, and was a law librarian and a corporate librarian before coming to the Jacksonville Public Library in 2004. She's been part of the Special Collections Department for over 11 years. Margaret is joined by her colleague, Jane Griffo, who will not be making a formal presentation, but will be available during the Q&A period for any questions that come up. Marissa, we can connect offline about your presentation. For now, I will hand the floor over to Margaret, and Margaret, thank you for being ready to jump in.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Margaret Morford. I'm the librarian at Jacksonville Public Library and the project manager for our JPL 50 Plus program. So for the next 10 or 15 minutes, I will present to you the challenges we faced and the lessons that we learned as one of the 4 libraries in the country that are participating in the AARP Foundation ISOA grant. So first I'd like to provide you with some background details. Let's look at the reasons why we chose to participate in this program. Our library's mission begins with the words, to enrich lives. It extends to all age groups. 30% of the population in Jacksonville is 50 years old or older. So that large segment of the population is important to us as we serve this part of the community. So let's look at who ran the program. You see, I'm the program manager, the first person there. As they stated, I went to Vanderbilt University in Nashville and worked as a law librarian and a corporate librarian before coming to JPL 11 years ago. And Jane Griffo is our part-time client services coordinator. She came to us last summer, and she helps us with our intake surveys and the volunteers, and she was chosen for the grant because she's multilingual and has experience teaching in English as a second language as well as working with the older adults. And she had a lot of experience in customer service. Our volunteers that we recruited were from the city's volunteer program and or from volunteers already helping in the library. So our volunteers were trained in July last summer to do the Resource Navigator intakes. Now, where do we go? Based on the program? Well, we decided that we were specified through the grant that we would be at the main library downtown. And so we chose a room on the 3rd floor of the library because it was private and it would be good for the intake surveys. And our room was open Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. And this began on August the 3rd. And later we've moved our room downstairs to the main floor so we could get more foot traffic for people coming in to do the surveys, and we could tell them about the programs going on at the library. We have set up tables at popular programs held at the main library and throughout the community also. In October, we approached the senior centers. We went and told them about what our program was, and we were trying to see if we have 19 senior centers here in Jacksonville to see if they would like to bring their seniors on a tour of the library, attend one of our programs designed for older adults, and then do the intake surveys. So in order to promote the program, we needed to start working on getting our logo. We had our graphics designer create a logo. It's real spiffy. You can see it down there in the right-hand corner. It's JPL 50 Plus. And then we designed a flyer, which you can see there, to promote it also. So we put this on our web page. We put it on our plasma screens. We sent these out to the library branches. We handed it out here at the library. This was our thing that we started promoting on our flyer. Then our library also distributed a news release. This came out the middle of, I think it was the middle or the 1st of September. We were promoting what was going on, so the news could get a hold of this. And we were approached by our NPR station, and they conducted interviews with us here, and we were put on telling about our JPL 50 Plus program with the AARP Foundation on the drive time home and in the morning drive coming in. So we were excited about that. In October, we began offering JPL 50 Plus programs during the day. This was a good variety of topics that we had for them to come attend. We had including general health. They could learn about diabetes or heart, managing their medicines. We had programs on legal concerns, finances. And then the things that were very popular were the technology assistants. Our e-specialists here at the library developed programs for seniors so that they could learn how to download things on their Androids or smartphones. They have like email, learning how to do email, a lot of things that seniors really want to know how to do and to keep up with their families and friends. So now I've given you a little bit of background information about our program and how it's run at the public library. Now it's time to look at the things that we have learned. Our first lesson is you're going to find out you'll be challenged because some things that you've planned have got to be tweaked a little bit so you can reach the community in the way you'd like to reach it. We found out location is definitely what you need to consider. Because we had challenges finding volunteers to want to come downtown to the downtown area because it's such a long commute from their home. There's limited parking, concerns about working with the homeless and their safety. So we had a lot of people with issues on different things. We had the same challenges with attracting customers that are over 50 years old to the downtown area. So our lesson was learned from this is to try to have programs or things for seniors at their area, at their branches. We need to conduct outreach programs or something if we want to reach anybody over 50. Also, when you have location problems, you have transportation issues. I don't know if you know, but Jacksonville is the largest city by area in the contiguous United States, and it takes at least 30 minutes to get anywhere. It is just very wide and very spread out, so there's long commutes between outlying areas and the downtown. So as a result, the senior centers didn't want to come and take their buses downtown to bring people in for the tours of the library. It was going to take too long to come from their senior centers downtown to do the surveys because by the time they got here, they'd have to turn around and drive back. So we had to learn, okay, we will come and do outreach. We will go to the senior centers. So the library went to the senior centers to take the programs to them and to do the surveys. We also have our 4 urban core branches in our downtown area that were willing to get trained and to do surveys for the people coming in there. And also we went to community events. The Friends of the Library has a big book sale, so we went to that and set up a table there for the day to do intake surveys and let the people know what activities, what events we had going on at the library, including our music programs that are really popular also here. They come up on Sunday afternoon once a month or during the day in the week once a month. So we promoted that. We went to the symphony one Friday to their coffee series. As we understand, a lot of seniors come there to listen to the symphonic music and enjoy the music during the day. So we went there. It's in the downtown area, about 3 blocks from the library, and set up a table to do intake surveys and promote our programs. So that was very successful. So it's really important for you to choose a location that's close to the population of 50 plus. The library really needs to bring the program to the residents. Another thing we learned was a lot of people didn't like to do the surveys because they're concerned about privacy. They were concerned about identity theft. So they didn't want to answer the questions to the survey. So we would have to say, okay, but at least we could promote, if this happened, we would promote services at the library and that we have and the different programs going on. So that's what we learned from that. So I want to share with you a few of the gold nuggets that I can take away that for the library that we really have positive thoughts of what we have learned. One nugget is it takes time to find volunteer programs, but you're going to find out you're going to be building wonderful relationships with these volunteer programs for future events or future services that you want to do for people over 50 for the library. Getting publicity is very essential from the local NPR stations and from other media outlets, because it's good to get the information out there to the people so they can want to come attend your events and come visit the library and go to the different libraries in their area. From the surveys, oh wow, we have provided excellent information on the interest in programs offered to seniors, so that way we can plan future programs for the seniors and what they really like. We've seen what their interest might be. We found out that older adults are really receptive to musical performances and health-related informational programs. But the big thing that we can really take away from this is we successfully connected older adults with job information, housing assistance, local food banks, and public benefits. And they've also learned that the Jacksonville Public Library has many services and programs to offer to them, from the Center for Adult Learning, where they can learn English as a second language or get their GED, also to talking books, which is for people, if they're taking care of people that cannot see very well, they can get books that way on tape for the people to listen to. And we also have a lot of good books that are in large print. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Margaret. I guess I just would like to make clear that Marissa, while she cannot join us for the rest of the webinar today, we are going to capture her presentation separately in this classroom and add it to the archived session, so everyone will be able to learn about the programs that she was going to talk to us about today. We will send a link to that to everyone who registered for the webinar. So I would like to thank Wendy and Margaret for sharing their experiences with us. And before we begin the Q&A, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. I certainly apologize for the technical problems that we've had today. And I'd like to thank the AARP Foundation for sponsoring this free webinar. We will be sending around a survey about your experience that will be coming via email later this afternoon. And now we can open up for Q&A. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box and let us know who the question is for. So we have one that's come in now for Margaret. Margaret, what kind of music programs do you have?
Oh, we have all types of music programs. We have like trumpeteers, people come in singing folk music. We've had a really good kind of jazz band group. We have things on Sunday, once a month, on Sunday afternoon from 3 to 4:30 that are really good for people. They can hear classical music or something really cultural and entertaining. And then during the week on the lunch hour, for people in the downtown area or people who are just visiting the library during the day, can come into a 12 noon concert where they bring their brown bag lunch and have music. So there's been like the Navy Band performed this month, and we've had folk music and all types of just anything interesting. So that's what we've had.
Thank you, Margaret. It looks like we've got some other comments coming in, something from Mark. We do a brown bag concerts in Bettendorf, Iowa, too. They're very popular. Others, if you have questions, please feel free to use the chat box and type them. And I think it's possible that Chris with AARP may also have some questions to pose to some of you to see if you can respond via chat. So I'll let Chris pose those if there aren't any other questions at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, first of all, again, I assume everyone can hear me. Much of what we are doing with the AARP Foundation work is looking at people, in many cases, who are looking to get back into the workforce and to really get themselves back on track financially. So Margaret had mentioned tying people and connecting people to some of the job employment programs we happen to also offer in Jacksonville. I'd love to know what more, what experience people have and what people have seen in the way of that 50-plus population coming to look for employment opportunities and coming to the library for direction, advice, classes, assistance. So those sorts of insights would be very interesting. And I see multiple people typing, but I don't know if they're going to respond to that.
It looks like we have a question from Kelsey Smith. Are there any philosophical issues with presenting in senior facilities that are for-profit entities? If either of our presenters has a comment on that, we would welcome that.
I can jump in and say that I personally don't see any such issue. I'm not a library, obviously. This is Chris from AARP Foundation. I think any place where you find that people have that need and that can connect, where you have at low-income 50-plus services, audience needing services, I think that's a great opportunity to take advantage of a ready audience.
And as for doing the book stops, One Generation, I'm not even sure if it's for profit, but even if it were, just having a lobby stop with a free public library in there, to me, I don't see any issue with that, because what we offer is free anyway, and the other organization doesn't get any particular benefit. It's just the clients that get the benefit. That's how I see it.
I see one response from Kelsey to the question about employment, that you had done a resume session for someone who had come in who was 65 looking for resume assistance, and that they had heard that you guys offer computer instruction for seniors. That's very much along the lines of what we've seen people need. Be able to, if they're going back into the workforce or looking for new employment opportunities, a resume is key. Basic computer instruction is very important. It's particularly around Microsoft Office. In many cases, that's very critical. But really, just being seen as that resource and other place to come and see that sort of assistance. I'm going to pose one other question if we have a moment here. I didn't see any questions pop up here. What other services do you find that people come that you're able to connect them to? And I ask that because much of what we were trying to do is use that library as a clearinghouse or a central location where people can come and say, boy, I need assistance locating weatherization assistance, or I need assistance finding a food pantry, or dress for success, whatever the need may be, and seeing if the library can help maybe refer people, because they have a familiarity of what's in their community, to services like that. And I'll mute my line now because I think I may be causing a buzz.
Well,
While people answer, go ahead.
Oh, this is Wendy, and I just, while Chris was talking, I just noticed there was a question for me, so I thought I'd answer it. From Madonna, how many months has the LAPL outreach program been in place? Well, it just launched this January, so this is, our third month, and so it's very new, and we're learning from it as we go, seeing what works and what we have to adjust and all that kinds of things. And it's taking place, like I said, 1 month at one location, 1 month at another. And that's just in my little region, the East San Fernando Valley. We have 6 library regions all across the city of Los Angeles. So I'm hoping that if this takes off and improves, that other librarians in some of the other 5 regions will see that as a good idea, locate community partners in their neck of the woods. Maybe there's a Meals on Wheels type situation going on all the way across the system somewhere I don't even know about, and then the library branch in that area. We have 72 branches in a central library, so I'm hoping people at branches sprinkled all over the place will start looking for community partners, and if possible, ones that do actually go to the seniors, because the lobby stops, the book stops, that's one part of it, and that's really wonderful. But when it turned out that we were able to piggyback on the meal delivery service, I just couldn't believe it, because that's what I was envisioning. the whole time. You know, you can offer really great programs at your branch, but for the people that can't get there, they're completely cut off from library services, and I just feel that isn't right. And there's going to be more of them as the baby boomers get up there, so I want more of that to happen.
And to the local. Okay, I'm seeing Chris. This is Margaret, and I can see Chris Rutledge's question of, can you give some ideas of service providers in Jacksonville you may have connected to? Yes, we've connected to some people. We've referred to our social worker, which is for the Hemming Park Social Services. They have an office in the front part of our library, so it's people needing immediate assistance in housing or food. We will refer them up there to the, we make appointments with the social worker. But if it's for the, if they need to go find the food banks, Jane Griffo will give information to them as they come in for the intake surveys and tell them where the local things are. For jobs, she has referred them to the job services that from the AARP Foundation has. And we had a local place here in town for the FSCJ, which is the community college, which is now a total college, and they were doing a grant this fall to just connect people over 50 years old for jobs. So that's what we did.
And I see a question from Kelsey that probably I can address about the status of AARP Foundation grants. We're exploring what our next steps are. It's really taking learnings from what we've learned from the 4 libraries we've worked with, as well as other activities that we are undertaking to really analyze how to connect with the 50 plus. So this was very much a learning opportunity. We were intending to roll out a call center model that will also be information for us and while connecting people to services in the community. I'll take the opportunity while we're waiting for other questions to pop up to maybe continue that question that Margaret had mentioned, what services she's connected people to. Is this something that a lot of other people do have experience with, connecting people with social service providers in the local community? Is there anyone who'd like to share in the chat box, and then we can repeat to everybody else what they've said? I see multiple attendees typing here, so perhaps people are responding to that question. While we're waiting on that, I know that Margaret, you've already answered that. Wendy in Los Angeles, what other service providers have you connected with outside of this program that you might be able to talk to?
Yes, well actually one thing I didn't mention in my presentation was the way it all started, where I did get permission. I went up the chain of command and just said, we need to have something, and they said, see what you can do. And the first thing I did in my research was found a fairly local Chamber of Commerce. It's Encino, which is part of Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley. And I emailed, I don't even remember how I found the link, but I emailed someone who was the chair of the Health and Wellness Committee for the Encino Chamber of Commerce. And she invited me to come speak at their monthly lunch, where they have all kinds of senior service providers. And that's where I made at least 2 of the connections that were key, one of whom became my community partner. She brought on the second one, Menorah House, but there was also the councilperson's office and another woman who had the most perfect connection, but then she sort of changed jobs. So anyway, that's what I did. Maybe people could look, well, besides looking on your city's older adult website type of place, I happened on this really thick booklet that had a lot of resources for, you know, seniors, caregivers, seniors themselves, all sorts of things. And I just cold call people. Don't be shy. You know, it's a good thing. It's really making the world a better place, and that's my motto, as corny as it sounds. And when you come from that frame of mind, people respond to it because there's just going to be more seniors over the years, and you know, people want to do a good thing, and especially with the library, because anyone who can't get to the library is cut off from the library services that they are actually entitled to, and that doesn't happen that way. So we have to find the ways that work in our individual libraries.
Great. And I see in the chat screen we have Rebecca Smith from DC. They have a social worker on staff who's helping to spearhead a coordinated effort to provide service referral, and Lois Powers had mentioned that they have a local link service, an elder affairs office that helps provide services to the older adult population. I won't read all of the chats here, you can see that, but I think the larger point being that you all are a wonderful opportunity and resource and a central place where people can come, and even if it's not necessarily directly in line with a library's mission, you're there as a resource where people oftentimes just are overwhelmed by not knowing what's in the community, and having a trusted resource there who can help make that connection is so powerful, just so very powerful. So again, I won't be able to read all of these here out loud, but if you go through the chat, and I assume everyone can, you'll see a lot of great ideas of how to connect people to services in your community with some degree of expertise. And as I said, we're trying to pilot a call center model now that will be able to connect people to services in their local community and help people, in some cases, do a little bit of navigating of what's out there.
Well, it looks as if the activity in the chat box has died down for the moment. We will go ahead and leave the classroom open just for people to communicate via chat for the next few minutes if you'd like to share contact information or pose other questions. For everyone else who does not have any questions left, thank you again for joining us. Please do complete the brief survey that we will email you later this afternoon. And to all, we will send a link to an updated archive shortly with Marissa Richardson's presentation included. If you do have any questions that are specific to the content that Marissa was to cover, please feel free to send them to the Public Programs Office. I'll type that email address here. We can confer with Melissa and respond with an answer to you. So thanks to all for being there.